just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, 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 I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, this is a statement to appreciate all that is vacant. It's just for the taking. If you make up your mind, you can take it. I'm never complacent. I would work in a mansion or basement, yeah. There's no replacement for persistence, it's a patience, yeah. In this life, I wanna be soaring, to feel sun inside when it's pouring, and I'll fight till anxiety is foreign. I'm so sick of my mind's extortion. My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, 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 I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah. Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it, and I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory, yeah. Don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
And good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Apex Autoglass and Tinting 410 Sprint Car Championship presented by B&B Race Simulator right here on OSRN. We are back from our Christmas break and New Year's break, so let's be one of the last people to wish you a very happy New Year. Welcome to 2022, folks. My name is Burt Wojcik. Alongside me tonight is Drake York. Dan Taylor will be off tonight as Dan's recovering from a little bit of cold, so get well soon, Dan. So Drake, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, welcome back. But didn't have you at Knoxville, and great to have you back here at Cedar Lake, Wisconsin here tonight.
Yeah, I feel bad for leaving you guys unsupervised at Knoxville. So
that's a bad idea, buddy.
Isn't as much trouble to get into at the fake dingus as there is the real one. But yeah, great to be back here after the new year, starting off 2022 with a bang.
Absolutely. Here, as we said, we are here at the Cedar Lake Speedway here in Cedar Lake, Wisconsin, and this place is a very tight 3/8 mile track. You almost can consider it probably one of the tightest 3/8 in the country here, but on the iRacing side of things, man, I tell you what, it can get very slick. It can slick all the way up to the wall here. It can get very tight too, and you got to watch your P's and Q's around this place here, because if you kind of slide that car up a little bit too far, that cushion, it can jump out and grab, or not the cushion, but the wall, it'll jump out and grab you up here.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the overhead shot of this track right now, and it kind of looks like, a pretty big track you can almost go hammer down on, but we've seen in the past, especially if you look at recent races from the last couple of years with the World of Outlaws, in real life, this place, it can change. Like you said, it can slick up to the fence or it could be hammered down. I remember Logan Schuchart, if I'm not mistaken. I know he got his first career Outlaw win here, but I believe he rolled the bottom to do it. So, there's a lot of lines that can work here, and you see it too a little bit when the late models come to town, and late models don't maneuver nearly as well as a winged 410 sprint car can. So. And they beat and bang, but this track has just been known the past couple years to produce some really great racing.
It absolutely has, and we're sure in for another banger here tonight, as we had a banger 2 weeks ago at the Knoxville Raceway, as we went back there, and a fantastic race towards the end there, but Evan Say went out there and led the majority of that race there, all 35 laps of the race there, and Blake Majulis is right behind him in second. So Majulis Say Speed Shop there going 1-2 really showed there. I'm sorry, Evan Say led 28 laps in that feature there. Evan Say, Blake Majulis, and Austin Selman round out the top three there. Tyler Schell, who is your current points leader, up in the 4th spot there. But Evan Say, he had that thing just on a very tidy line at Knoxville, and that place had really started to slick off. And it really played into his favor there towards the latter half of that race to pick up his first win of the season.
Yeah, and you talk about that tidy line at Knoxville. The wing car, especially a wing 410 sprint car, especially, you kind of have to, you really have to know where you're going at a big track like Knoxville, because one little miscalculation or, I really don't want to run the bottom, I want to slide myself in the corner, kind of hesitation right there really can really mess up your lap and even at your race. And C just didn't do that last week and picked up the win.
Absolutely, he did a very fine job of running around there, and as we said, Majulis Say Speed Shop, good 1-2 finish for them. First time they were in both podium finishes this season here. But if you look at the points right now, Tyler Schell, he is pulled out to a massive lead now over Alex Bergeron and Logan Rumsey. Schell only has 2 wins here, but again, it was another rough week for Bergeron, where he had to go back and kind of come back from the back of the field there. But, again, it's showing what his Schell's consistency is right now over Bergeron, having 514 points to Bergeron's 462. Schell's been able to make his way through the back of the field there, but Bergeron the last couple weeks been seeming like he's been getting tangled up in some stuff.
Yeah, and, we talk about it, doesn't matter what kind of car series you're running, just being consistent pays off in the points. You don't have to win every night. You just got to run top 5. And one guy who's definitely the model of that, which I would compare anybody to, is Brady Bacon. USAC National Sprint Cars can top 5 basically at will. I was looking over some stats here throughout the winter, just piecing together my stuff for 2022. It's just mind-blowing the amount of top 5s he did, and he had it. And you look at other guys, since Justin Grant or Kevin Thomas Jr., who won more that season than he did, necessarily, just had some bad nights here and there, didn't finish in the top 5 as much, and ultimately lost out on the title. So it's all about staying consistent.
Yeah, you're exactly right there, Drake. It is all about the consistency there, and that's one thing we have seen from Tyler Schell the last couple weeks there. He may have gotten knocked back, but you kind of think back to that race at Williams Grove there, where him and Bergeron has had the contact, And, it seems like it's been kind of a good run for Shell last couple weeks, but Bergeron, he's been having kind of, I don't want to say karma come back and bite him, but it's been kind of a little bit of it's been almost that kind of sense there with Bergeron not having the runs that we've been expecting out of him.
Yeah, and, that's just a product of being human, I guess. You can't win everything. You can certainly try to, and you talk about that contact at Lernerville, and sometimes that's all it really takes. A little controversy to really set you back a little ways when it comes to racing for points. So it's just one of those things, and who knows? Tyler Schell could have a terrible night tonight. We don't know that. I would highly doubt Tyler Schell has a bad night tonight. But again, going back to what I was talking about, you have to be consistent. Has kind of fallen off the pace in that category recently, but he's looking to come back to that way here tonight at Cedar Lake.
Absolutely. Well, we're expecting a very, very good field here tonight at Cedar Lake. See what we can get out of this here. And as you see, cars are starting to make their way onto the track there. And there's one of the guys who is at the Tulsa shootout. Coming to first car out will be Logan Rumsey, who kind of caused a little bit of a stir at him and Brady Bacon get together in one of the lower main events there. That was a little bit wild.
Yeah, wild's a bit of an understatement, and it's Tulsa shootout. Things boil over pretty easily, and just kind of came out in a Tulsa way, I guess is what you'd call it. Kind of got they're back in the pit area. Well, I guess there wasn't really an altercation, more of a difference of opinions, if you will, of what happened in the final corner of that lower main. But yeah, Logan Rumsey definitely made headlines. So always the reason you want to make headlines, but they say there's no such thing as bad press.
Never a thing is bad press. There never is. And, again, it's like, you want to look back on it as, he's fighting for a transfer spot there. What do you want him to do? I mean, it's like, the kid made his way through there, and he found a way to get around a multi-time USAC national champion and to get in. So good on Logan. And, maybe I have a little bit of Pennsylvania bias in me, too. That, it's one of the PA boys going out there and doing well. As right beside him, you look at the 127, that would be Blake Majulis, who finished second at the Knoxville Raceway last week. And Blake trying to build on that momentum. He does have a couple wins this season here. Blake has 2 wins so far on the season. So he'll be trying to build off on that setup from last week.
Exactly, and trying to keep the ball rolling. And, once you're hot, you're hot when it comes to sprint car racing or really just any sport in general. So that's, like I said, just one of those things you have to keep building off one success to the other. Big win, small win, got to keep going and going and going. And I would like to point out that guarantee Cedar Lake does not look like this right now in real life. Just saw a video from Chet Christian today on Flow Racing going to a snowmobile oval race, and say the least, it was a little snowy.
Oh, is that this weekend, the ice racing they do up there?
Yeah, I believe it's this weekend, and Chet went up there to cover it, and he did like a little driving video over there, and I'll be honest, I'm a little terrified of driving in the snow, so just watching his video, most of it was him driving. That's talking to the camera.
That's you Cali boys. You don't know how to drive. Meanwhile, we have 3 to 4 inches of snow coming here tonight in central Pennsylvania. So, that's nothing for us. It's funny how you mention that. I was talking with some friends of mine how, do you see how I-95 was shut down in Virginia this week? I'm not sure if you saw that.
I did see that.
Yeah, like, it's amazing how there was a 200-mile difference from where I'm at down to where that is. In 200 miles, it crippled one place, but yet up here, no problem whatsoever. So snow is not that bad. Just take your time, folks. But yes, you're right. Cedar Lake would not be looking this nicer. But I would love to see like a World of Outlaws 2002 style ice bowl come out. Something like that. Maybe iRacing. Try that.
I'm seeing it.
Yes. Alex out here pointing out in one of the comments we have here, PA is one of the homes of sprint car racing. Yep, in Knoxville. That I always have to find a way to get our owner of the league here, Sparky, get him fired up. So that'll be a good way to piss him off tonight.
Hey guys, man.
So yes, thank you to our producer Joe White for pointing that out. Joe, great job with OSRN as always. Says thanks for everyone watching. So we are in some practice here. Drake, what do you think we can expect here tonight at Cedar Lake? I think that, it's going to be, this is not the track we're going to see here tonight. I do expect it to be a very tricky, technical, slick track here tonight, but what do you think we're going to see here tonight, and who's going to be the ones to watch, you think?
Well, I mean, I'm just going to have to kind of watch it as we go on with practice and eventually qualifying, but, looking at it right now, it's about a lane and a half, I'd say, off the fence at both ends of the speedway. Actually, on turns 1 and 2, there you see Blake Majulis run the top side of the racetrack. So he's all the way up at the fence. 3 and 4, well, Majulis is a little adventurous, but it looks like the track's mostly about a lane and a half off the fence in 3 and 4, and then, like I said, just 1 and 2, just man, oh man, it's up on the fence. So I don't know. I would say, especially with the feature tonight, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if we saw it slick off to the fence, and maybe you can get a little putt-putt, Shane Cottle style line down on the bottom. So, again, with dirt track racing, you never know what you're going to get, and we're just going to kind of have to see the track evolves as we move on tonight.
One of the first races I ever called an iRacing was here at Cedar Lake. I called the Big Block race over at National Racing Network, where I do host a High Side Hustle podcast. So we'll be back on there soon. So shameless plug on that. But we was a Big Block race out here, and it was such a good event. We had guys like Andy Bicchetti out here, Logan Rumsey, I believe he got second, or either one or got second that race here. Andy Bicchetti, he was a monster up here in Big Block modified country, especially up in the New York area. And it was good side-by-side racing. I think they ran like 50 laps or something like that green in the 75-lap race. So it can produce some good racing up here. And you're right. It all depends on where it gets slicked off to the wall. I don't think that... I think Majulis is trying some different things right now. Just seeing what the track will do. I don't think you're going to see him go all the way up to the wall like he was for qualifying there. But remains to be seen as we take a look at another car going around the speedway here. Trying to see who that is off our ticker here. And Logan Rumsey gets a little putt in the back there. That looked to be from the 52 car of, let's see here. Trying to find there. Joe, yep, thank you. James Eden, yep, thank you, sir. Still trying to get through some of these names here. James Eden out there in the 8 car here tonight. See what James can do here. Well, it's showing that he's on the 52 car, but he's actually on from iRacing. His number is 8, but that's one of those cars where it knocks off the, or I think it's custom paint or whatever you want to call it. So he's actually in the 52 car, but on your ticker it'll show in the 8 there. But he's 10th quickest right now. Right now, Greg LeMay, he is the fastest overall, 10.59. I could see some 10.6 as being the norm here tonight. I think 10.5, that's a good lap though. I don't know if we're gonna get in that qualifying though. What do you think, Drake?
I would think I'd have to agree with you, but looking at it, gosh, it's through 16th are all within a tenth of each other. And, you just never know what kind of racing that can produce, especially in qualifying, too, with it being so competitive. But I think LeMay and Majulis, guys like that, Shell, all basically within the ballpark of each other. And it's that's going to be hard to top in qualifying. So it's... Again, we talked about it the last few weeks, really how important qualifying is going to be, especially for lining up your heat race. And then, we don't really know what the track's going to do in the heat race. It could be a hammer down, foot through the floorboard style racetrack.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
You don't want to be starting in the back of that.
No, you don't want to, and that just makes it so hard to pass. But here it's, this track, it can be hammered down all the way to the boards, but you can get some pass. It seems like in a heat race, and this track likes to run around the middle, be slicked around the middle, and that's really where the line really starts at. But then the bottom really comes in later on in this race. Now, depending on how many mains we have here tonight, and of course we're gonna have a massive reset before the feature, so that'll throw everything out. But they'll at least try and blow the track off. So I think the track will probably start out maybe a little less than what it is right now, as we have about 2 minutes left in practice here. Here tonight. So I think probably around the feature time, this is what we can expect the track to look like. Maybe a little bit better than just what it is right now.
And I think you're exactly right. Now we have a lot of time and a lot of cars turn laps on the racetrack. You're starting to see it slick off on corner entry. And a little bit, I believe, I see through the middle. So it's just all about, quick these races go and how much time and in practice and how many cars actually make it to the racetrack, as we're now getting ready for tonight's qualifying session.
Yes, sir. Once again, thanks to everyone for joining us here tonight on OSRN for the Apex Autoglass and Tinting 410 Sprint Car Championship presented by B&B Race Simulators. And also, we have EPI join us as well as part of the broadcast, so thanks for them. His first car up on the speedway will be James Eden. He's out here in the 57 car, going to be laying some laps here. Another guy out on the speedway, he went to the Tulsa Shootout, Mason Hannigan. He got some airtime last week, Drake.
Yeah, I talked to Mason just after Tulsa, and he wasn't exactly thrilled with how his week went, just kind of some bad luck here and there. In his opinion, some guys not racing him how he wanted to be raced, and sometimes, motor issues took him out of good spots and heat races and qualifiers, but that's just part of it sometimes, and Mason's really excited for this upcoming racing season.
So right now, your fast time right now is James Eden at 10.58. 10.58 for James Eden. Greg LeMay second fast at a 10.60. And Tim Smith just went up to the top of the board. 10.56. Boy, he made a liar on me pretty quick.
Yeah, like we were talking about, it's going to be very competitive here in qualifying. Eden goes to the top. As you said, LeMay now back in second. Tyler Shell jumps up to third.
Miller up there. Oh, sorry, Drake.
But there goes Timothy Smith to the top at 10.56 for Timothy Smith.
Last week's winner, Evan Say, up to third at a 10.58. James Eden is up there at 10.58 as well. Take a look here at your top five right now. It is Tim Smith at 10.56. James Eden second, and third is also Evan Say at a 10.58. Kenny Miller also tags in at a 10.58. Hayden Carwell, 10.60. Greg LeMay also at 10.60. Tyler Shell, seventh quick at a 10.61. Dave Halute in the 8th spot, 10.62. Aiden Berline, 9th fast at 10.62, and Ross Kreiser also at 10.62. So, as we wait to see some of these other guys come out here, like Bergeron, who's yet to make his qualifying time, just to say that, he goes up to the 5th spot, 10.60.
Yeah, Bergeron, like we said, qualifying is going to be important, so he's going to be trying to look better that lap here on lap number 2. And Smith still holds the top spot. Looking at Kenny Miller too here on the speed charts, currently in 4th. Together with the USAC East Coast Sprint Cars is Blake Majulis. Big run up to second at 10.57. 10.57 for Blake Majulis.
So your runner-up from last week goes out, puts down to 10.57. But right now, as we are looking at qualifying, I believe that's going to do it for qualifying because there's about 10 seconds left, and Isaac Soares and Chase Wolf have not gone out and put down qualifying laps, so that should do it for qualifying. So your quick timer here tonight will be Tim Smith at a 10.56. Blake Majulis second fast at a 10.57. Then James Eden, Evan Say, and Kenny Miller all round out your top 5 with all 10.58s as the first heat is on the speedway here. Timothy Smith will be on the pole alongside USAC East Coast regular Kenny Miller the third. Tyler Shell, your current points leader here for the Apex Autoglass and Tinting 410 Sprint Car Championship. Ross Kreiser will make up row number 2. Alex Jasinski will be making up 5th spot here. Trevor Meyer in the 6th spot. Joe Howe in the 7th spot. And downtown JD Brown in the 8th spot here as the first heat is lining up on the speedway here. And Drake, I think we're ready to kick off 2022 in a big way here with the Apex Autoglass and Tinting 410 Sprint Car Championship.
Absolutely, and talking about how important a good qualifying time is, you look at Timothy Smith there on your screen on the inside of the front row, fast time, and then we just talked about Kenny Miller the third, had a really good lap. So we're going to start up front in these heat races, and especially with how thick the competition is, this series, it's going to be imperative, in my opinion, especially if you're looking at the racetrack right now as we get a great overhead shot of Timothy Smith's car. So right now looking pretty green, a little slimy even in some spots, so we're just going to have to see how it works out.
Yeah, that's really how the track gets on the start of these races here. It is slimy. I do expect, kind of be a good, I don't want to say a bottom feeder in this start here. Some guys may go try the top, but this track normally takes a little bit for it to slick off. That second heat race, second or third heat race, I think we'll start seeing the track move up a little bit and get to a really nice spot there. But again, it might be a little tough to pass here as you're right on top of the wing with Tyler Shell as the iRacing Silverado pace truck makes its way around. It's going to go hit the hammer and get off the speedway as we're going to go green here at Cedar Lake. Heat race number 1 underway.
Good start for Smith. He leads the charge down to turn number 1 and 2. Shell's going to move up to second past Kenny Miller. No, Miller charges back on the outside into 3.
That bottom lane's the way to go right now as Kenny Miller pulls a slide job. Oh, Kenny Miller makes a little bit of contact there. I want to say that would be with Russ Kreiser as he comes off of turn number 4. But right now, Tim Smith is pulling away from Tyler Shell.
We talked about, almost as I predicted, this track could be the floorboard style racetrack in these first couple of heats, and indeed I was right. You look at right now, everybody just giving it all they got, and it seems like you were kind of talking about there, Bert. The middle side of the racetrack definitely seems to be preferred because up above there, all you just see is the dark stuff and marbles.
Yeah, you're looking right now at Kenny Miller. He's closing. He's right there on Tyler Shell, but I just don't know if he has enough car right now to get around him as we have 5 laps to go this time by past the line here. Miller right there, and he got Alex Rzazinski in that 4th spot right behind him. You got 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th with Trevor Meyer also in that battle.
Yeah, you know, we usually talk about dirty air being a problem on big racetracks, but right now with how the racetrack's racing and how fast these tires are going and the kind of lap times are turning, dirty air could become a problem, as you saw Rzazinski try the top side 1 and 2 there. He does it again, just looking for some clean air on that front wing.
Meanwhile, Tim Smith, he's out to almost a half a second lead over Tyler Shell. Then it is Kenny Miller the 3rd, right in that 3rd spot. Look at Tim Smith here as he got the twin 6 out, 2 to go. Smith will look down on the bottom, go all the way up to the top area. Seems like everyone's kind of content with where they're running at right now, Drake, as we get the white flag out this time.
Yeah, nobody really seemed to make any big moves. Here's Kenny Miller looking for the 2nd spot as we come down to the checkered. Will be Timothy Smith getting the win. Michelle and Kenny Miller round out the top 3.
As we looked at the end of that, on the going into the white flag lap there, Alex Rzazinski goes in and tags the wall hard, so that'll move Trevor Meyer up into the 4th spot and Joe Howe up into the 5th spot. So a little bit of a change in that final lap there, that heat race, as you take a look at your heat 1 results, as we'll get Tim Smith in here. We'll send Drake York down there. It looks like he's ready to go. So Drake, why don't you head on down there? We'll get Tim Smith up here and heat race number 1 winner.
Sounds like a plan. Tim Smith, your winner of heat race number 1, also your fast time qualifier tonight. So Tim, being said, how important was that qualifying run to get on the pole of this heat race and then just drive out to the win like that?
Well, qualifying is very important when the track is really heavy. It's really tough to pass with these guys. I just got to think 129 and 9 setups, and just 129 helped me up in general.
It's Tim Smith, your winner of heat race number 1, looking for the clean sweep here tonight at Cedar Lake.
We'll see what he can do there. Thank you very much, Drake York, as we have Blake Majulis, Alex Bergeron will share heat race number 2, front row Clayton Tilley with a nice qualifying effort, alongside Logan Rumsey, Justin Sherman, and the Little Hurricane Mason Hannigan make up row number 3. Austin Drucke and Lane Stevens make up row number 4. So we saw what the track can do here. Not too much passing that first heat race there. But now, here we go. This could be a big break for Bergeron. We're going to talk about this a lot, I think, in this heat race here. Bergeron has a chance to get around Majulis, but Majulis has run very well here. This could really help out Bergeron's in the points chase here, because he's either going to be starting ahead of Tyler Shell, or he's going to be starting right beside him if everything goes to plan. Or, worst case scenario, we may have to have some alphabet soup from Alex Bergeron tonight.
Exactly, and if I'm not mistaken, top 5 transfer into the feature.
So that'll take a big mistake from Bergeron if he has to go do that. But so we will see what happens as the field comes down the back straightaway. iRacing Silverado Pace Truck will hit the hammer going down into the front straightaway, make the jump, as Majulis and Bergeron get the green flag off of turn number 4.
I really like the way Majulis carved up turn number 4, coming to the green, and everybody up out of the groove in turns 1 and 2. It seems to work, as here comes a slider from Bergeron. He'll take the lead momentarily. Majulis back to the inside.
Well, Majulis was ready for that slider. He anticipated that from Bergeron. A little bit early to pull that slider, I think, but he's going to try it again. He's going to run the bottom now. Majulis was ready for it. He has momentum, ripping around turns number 1 and 2.
And you can't really blame Bergeron for trying there. With the way the track is, it really hasn't widened out, and it really hasn't slickened off, as one car goes flipping over the fence. It's Lane Stevens. Logan Rumsey, we were talking about him earlier. There's Mason Hannigan right in front of 2 drivers that ran the shootout, both memorable shootouts-ish, I like to call it. But they raced for the 3rd spot down to turn number 3 on board with Rumsey. There you see Hannigan in the red 22 right in front of him. And like I was saying, it's just going to be tough to pass. But now you're starting to see the track widen up to the fence. It's starting to get a touch slick, not very slick at all, really. It's starting to get just a touch slick, just enough for these drivers to start moving up, looking for a grip up on the high side.
So I want to say there, Logan Rumsey looks like he smacked the wall, but that's going to be one of these things where this track slicks off, is that the walls will reach out and grab you. As right now, Blake Majulis and Alex Bergeron are kind of checked out from Mason Hannigan and Logan Rumsey, as we got Austin Drucke goes up over the wall. So he'll be out in the pit side there. As we take a look now, as Rumsey trying to get around Hannigan, not going to happen. Hannigan goes all the way over the wall. Rumsey with a slider back. Actually, no, he will not pull the slider. Now he'll pull the slider on Mason Hannigan, and he'll take away the 3rd spot away.
Yeah, Hannigan going to go back to the top side in 1 and 2, but out front, it's all about Majulis. Hannigan again to the fence. Down in the 3 and 4 across the stripe, Blake Majulis, your winner. Alex Bergeron will finish 2nd. Then it's Rumsey, Hannigan, and Tilley with the final transfer.
So Blake Majulis, another heat race win, going to try and build off of that 2nd place run last week at the Knoxville Raceway, or 2 weeks ago, I should say, at Knoxville. So we'll have to see if he can continue this here. Him and Evan Say have really seemed to find something the last couple of weeks here, Drake. And if they can continue to build on this, you know, they may have a little bit of a late season charge here, moving up the points. As you take a look, there is your Heat 2 results. Blake Majulis, Alex Bergeron, Logan Rumsey, Mason Hannigan, Clayton Tilley, Justin Sherman, Austin Drucke, and Lane Stevens, as we are waiting for Majulis to get to the pit area there after he clears tech and get the helmet off. We'll see if he'll be able to do an interview with the great Drake York with us, as we are waiting to see here. Up there comes Blake, as he is getting ready to head on over to Drake York. Drake, 2 weeks in a row, Blake Majulis is ready to, trying to build off a great week.
Exactly, and just to build off what Bert said there, Blake, it seems like when somebody gets going in racing, they just don't stop. So how important is momentum going into each and every week?
Yeah, just trying to get some good finishes and test stuff out for the Pro Series, and just try and get a good setup built for Monday nights, and that's kind of the main goal here.
It's Blake Majulis, winner of heat race number 2.
I tell you what, this is a great testing ground for that Pro Series, as we got most of the Pro Series drivers here with the Apex Autoglass 410 Sprint Car Championship, presented by B&B Race Simulators. James Ian, Hayden Carwell in row number 1, Dave Halute and Gunnar Harris in row number 2. Liam Garrison in the 5th spot there, alongside, Landon Cardoza, that's the name I was looking for. Landon Cardoza, John Helms, and Isaac Soares round out the field here, as we will get the iRacing Silverado pace truck to gun him around here. We'll see what Aiden Cardwell can do alongside James Eden on that front row. It's been pretty clean racing so far there. Outside of Majulis and Bergeron throwing some sliders on each other, been pretty clean racing on the front of the start here. But then, towards the back of the pack here, all hell seems to break loose, as looks like Cardwell, he slipped a little bit, probably slid the tires a little bit going into turns 1 and 2.
No contact farther back behind. All it goes around, so we will stay green at the front of the field. No cautions in these heat races. Up front, James Edens is absolutely running away with it, but the battle right now is for that 2nd spot.
2nd, 3rd, and 4th, all underneath the battle there. That is Hayden Cardwell, Landon Cardoza, and John Helms. They're all in the battle there as Cardwell get around. They're almost 3 wide coming off of turn number 2. Oh, that won't stick too long there as you look at Gunnar Harris. He's up on the high side now. Harris trying to make his way around. Hayden Cardwell now. He'll try and rip the lip off of turn number 2.
So far, this is the raciest we've seen the track all night long. Drivers going back and forth. The bottom's starting to come in with Cardwell down low, as now you see Harris drop down with him. Cardoza remains loyal to the top, and meanwhile, Helms back in that 5th and final transfer spot looks on.
Yeah, we take a look at Helms right now, see what he can make happen. As you look at Gunnar Harris, he's trying to hold off Landon Cardoza. Here comes John Helms now. He's in that 5th and final transfer spot, as it looks like there's only 5 cars on the speedway, as Liam Garrison and David Halute will be in the pit area. So right now, your top 5 are pretty much locked in transfer, as it looks like Cardwell will go all the way up to the fence.
Yeah, there's no shame in trying anything right now. Might as well go for it with only 5 cars left on the racetrack. There's Cardwell, really one of the only drivers to make the bottom side work as he slides to the top side in 3 and 4. Edens just continues to dominate this one as he did from the top of the green. Was really impressed with how he carved up turn number 4 coming to the green flag and just able to cut down the racetrack and get a big run heading into turn 1.
White flag out for James Eden. Absolutely fantastic heat race for James Eden. If we're not talking about you much in a heat race while you're leading, it's been a good heat race. James Eden wins heat race number 3 here at Cedar Lake. Second will go to Hayden Carwell. Third to Gunnar Harris. And fourth to Landon Cardoza. John Helms will make it into that 5th and final transfer spot. So as you take a look here, James Eden with an absolutely flawless heat race. And Drake, when we get him down in here, I would like to see what his opinion are. Is it going to be a bottom track? Is it going to be a top side track here tonight? It seems like he was doing really well on both the bottom and the top sides there, but it almost seems like he had an apex line going through as we wait for James to come in. There's your heat 3 result. Eden, Carwell, Harris, Cardoza, Helms, Garrison, Halou, and Isaac Soares, who did not come out. James Eden is get the helmet off. He's down there with Drake York. Drake, take it away.
Well, James, obviously you dominated that one from the start, and we saw you move down towards the bottom throughout the race. When you're out front like that, just yards and miles away from the field, really, do you just kind of experiment with different stuff?
Yeah, we tried a few different things there. Tried the middle, tried the bottom. I was watching the heat races before, and it looked like the bottom was, still pretty good. So, I just kind of was gonna stick to running that, and we got a big lead on the start, and then just kind of maintained it there.
It's James Eden's your heat race number 3 winner.
Heat race number 4 coming out of the Speedway. Last week's winner, Evan Say, will be on the pole on Greg LeMay. Aiden Burline, Randy Sheaves, that makes up row number 2. Austin Selman, Ernie Williams Jr. in the 3rd row. Randy Fritch and Chase Wolf make up row number 4 as the iRacing Silverado Pace truck will get off the Speedway. Field makes their way through. Evan Say, Greg LeMay, green flag off at turn number 4. Ooh, Say with a good start there. I don't know if LeMay flipped a little bit or what, but he had struggling there as Aiden Burline's all over him now.
I haven't really seen the driver on the outside of the front row get a good start, but it's going to be C leading lap number 1 over LeMay. We're going to kind of see where these drivers start to go, what works for everybody. As there you see Burnline down the bottom, but then you have your 2 leaders run the high side, so it's going to be one of those heat races, I feel like, where we really start to see the racetrack come into its own.
Evan C. now continues to lead, but LeMay is right there. He goes on. This might be the closest battle we've had all night long for a heat race lead. As to go back in the turns 1 and 2, pulling away from him now as you take a look back through the field here. Chase Wolf, Randy Sheaves, and Ernie Williams in that battle there for that 4th, 5th, and 6th spot. Oh, Ernie Williams, he taps the wall a little bit. Oh, good job staying into it.
Williams trying to hang on to that 5th and final transfer spot off at turn number 2. It gets close. Wolf's going to hang on to it. Williams has to back out of it and reassess. Now, back behind them, there's Selman. He is still in the mix. Williams bounces it off the wall, rides the wall. Selman gets by, and I think there might be right rear damage on Williams' car.
Yeah, I think that also with Chance Wolf, he got a little bit too sideways going in turns 1 and 2. So Ernie Williams had to go all the way up the wall, but Austin Selman's going to take advantage of this now. He is up into the 5th spot, so Chance Wolf, first car out as we are looking through here with 3 laps to go, this time by in heat race number 4.
Up front for the race lead, still a 3-car duel between C, LeMay, and Burline. Burline now starting to get some momentum on the bottom. He pulls even with LeMay through turns 1 and 2. LeMay, though, with a run down the backstretch. They're still side by side into 3.
Right now, the bottom, it seems to be better off of 1 and 2, but 3 and 4, or excuse me, off of 3 and 4, 1 and 2, that top side here seems to be a little bit more momentum as we go off of turn number 4. Does Burline have enough? No, he does not. By 0.8 of a second, Evan C. will win heat race number 4 over Aiden Burline, Greg LeMay, Austin Selman, and Chase Wolf will be your top 5 transfer there. Wow, that got a little close at the end of that race there. To take a look, C, Burline, LeMay, Selman, Wolf, Shreves, Williams, and Randy Fritch was a DNS. So Evan Say holds on barely, but hard charging Aiden Burline towards the end of that heat race looks so good. And Drake York, you're down there with Evan C.
Well, Evan is a hard-fought race there, start to finish, but line coming on strong at the end, especially on the bottom side of the racetrack. Did you ever think maybe I should go down there or block, or were you just full bore on the top?
Yeah, man, I was a little bit too tight to try and hit the bottom there, so I decided to just stay in that middle to upper part of the track, and just hopefully that line lasted. It seemed to start to slow down pretty good bit there in the middle, and that bottom started to come in. But we'll make some changes for the feature, and see if we can get a little bit better.
Well, Evan, fun to watch as always. He's your heat race winner.
Very fun to watch, Drake. Thank you very much. As we go on to heat race number 5, Trevor Myers, no, this would be, I believe, our B main here tonight, or C main consolation event. So it'll be Trevor Myers, Landon Cardoza, Joe Howe, John Helms, J.D. Brown, Liam Garrison, Ross Kreiser, David Lute, Alex Rzinski, and Isaac Soares in tonight's consolation event, your C main here. So we will get the top. I believe we're taking the top 4 out of the C main. If not, we'll find out. We'll get confirmation here. Our great producer Joe from OSRN gonna get us that information. Joe's been doing a fantastic job for us here with the Apex Autoglass 410 sprint cars, as we are green here on between Trevor Myers and Landon Cardoza going into turn number 1.
And again, track staying basically the same almost from the heat races, so it's starting to get slick through the middle especially, and like you were talking about at the top of the show, Bert, it's getting wide, it's getting racy, and it's getting just how we like it as a couple cars get together back behind.
Remember, no caution there. Ross Kreiser, horrible night for Kreiser. He's up into the fence. You have 2 other cars there. I believe that's Liam Garrison and David Alute. They're both involved in that wreck. So you're going to have basically Alex Rzinski and J.D. Brown going to be your ones on the outside looking in right now. But you have your top 5 cars still underneath the blanket as you go into turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's still feisty at the front, as now it's starting to get a little risque up on the fence, riding on board with Helms as he looks at the cars in front of him of Meyer and Cardoza. Drops down to the bottom. That could cost him. Here comes Helms with the run. He goes through the slick. Just didn't commit well enough to the bottom to really pull a slide job right there. This is now going to go back to the top.
You see with John Helms there, as we saw in that view there, how the car kind of got away from off of turns 1 and 2. That's kind of where this track can get. You go from that slick to get a little bit of grip, and it just wants to rip it out of your hands. But it'll go all the way up into the fence, up into loose stuff. So you'd see if he can't get a little bit of a run onto Trevor Myers, he's going to do so. Where does he try and make the move? He's on his tail tank, going in turns 1 and 2, 3 wide for the second spot. John Helms holding on there. Here he comes on the bottom, going to pull a slide job on Trevor Myers. Will he make it stick? Yes, he will. John Helms up in a second.
Now these guys got to be careful not to bring Meyer into this, or bring Brown into this one. With that sliding, it's going to definitely bring more cars in. As here comes Howe up on the top side.
So your top 5 will make it into the night. Right now, the only one on the outside looking in is Szerzinski. Szerzinski's going to have to try and make a move on this battle here, or else maybe one to make a mistake, as we have 2 laps to go this time by.
Szerzinski looking for any way in the show possible. There you ride with Joe Howe into turns 3 and 4. Szerzinski with the slider, if you want to call it that. It looked like maybe he just got tight in the middle of the corner, and that could be all she rode.
Yeah, he lost a lot of momentum there. Meanwhile, Landon Cardoza will win the C main here tonight. Second, we'll go to John Helms. Third, we'll go to J.D. Brown. Fourth, to Joe Howe. And Trevor Myers will be in your 5th and final transfer spot here. So Alex Rzinski is the first car on the outside looking in. As we will take a look here at your results. Cardoza, Helms, J.D. Brown, Joe Howe, Trevor Myers make it in. Szerzinski, Garrison, Ross Kreiser are your first cars out. Now, as we get ready to go into the night's B main, Mason Hannigan will be on the front row alongside of Austin Selman. Clayton Tilley and Chance Wolf will be making up row number 2. Justin Sherman, Randy Sheaves in row number 3. Austin Drucke, Ernie Williams in row number 4. And Lane Stevens and Randy Fritsch will make up your 5th and final row here. So we'll have to see what it entails here. But Drake, we saw here the track starting to slick off. I imagine this is what the track will probably look like towards the end of the heat race. But I feel, or not the heat race, the feature. But I feel like it's going to get a lot darker, a lot slicker as we get more cars on the track here, more laps on this tonight's feature event.
Well, Bert, yeah, hit the nail on the head right there. Basically left me high and dry. So, but thanks
welcome.
for that. Yeah,
You're welcome, buddy.
That's why it's a team. No, I'm just kidding. But I exactly, like I just said, I totally agree with your assessment. It's going to be pretty black through the middle, I feel like, and be the start of that heat race, of the first heat race. Let me be more specific. The start of the first heat race and even the second heat race, really, how the track was just really fast and really one grooved. I feel like that's what you're going to see through most of the feature event, maybe up to halfway, who knows. And like you said, it's not going to change how it has in the heat races. Obviously, you get a bunch of cars out there and set them free for a longer period than 8 laps. It's definitely going to change a lot quicker. And so these drivers, it's just going to be about staying on top of it throughout the feature event.
So as we get ready to get the iRacing Silverado Pace Truck into the infield, 12 laps the distance in the B main. As we get ready to go here, field comes down off of turn number 4. Mason Hannigan, Austin Selman, bring him into the lap, turns 1 and 2. Oh, a little bit of contact there. That's Clayton Tilley. He's going to go around. He's inside the barrier right now.
Yeah, that's effectively going to put an end to his evening, as there's no yellows up until the feature event. Up front, it's Mason Hannigan, then Selman, Sherman, Drucki. Shreves, your 5th and final transfer, then car 56. There you see him down on the front stretch into turn 1 and 2.
Chase Wolf on the first car on the outside looking in. Randy Fritz tried to see, get his issues figured out here, but it seems like he's a little bit far away, as Shreves has had a big lead over that 6th and final transfer spot by almost 3 seconds over Shreves.
Hannigan may get a challenge from Selman here. Of course, in the top 5, no reason to really risk it for a win, but the top 3 all over each other. Once again, that's Hannigan, Selman, and Sherman, the top 3. Sherman with a big run off the top side of the racetrack. There you see Selman moving back up. Hannigan a little bit lower line right there. They're all running the top. It's all very different. Now there you see Selman drop down to the middle side of the racetrack, and I just said, this racetrack right now is so racy. You can go almost anywhere you want and be fast.
Yeah, Mason Hannigan goes almost and kisses the wall going in turns 3 and 4 as we take a look there. It's kind of a fine line now. You're starting to get to that spot where, all right, you want to push the car and see where it's at, but now you don't want to push it too much, or else you may be up in the fence and your night may be over, as Selman's going to try and catfish it around the bottom. It's there, Drake. The bottom's right there, but it's just there's not enough momentum as there is up on the high side.
Yeah, and I don't think these drivers really have their cars set up to putt it around the bottom, and the top right now is too fast. Even if you want to putt it around the bottom, it's not really worth it. There you see Selman tried it, and in a spot I like to call insurance spots. You're not on the bubble, or you're not really in direct danger of it. Of course, running in the 3rd spot now, he's 2 up, so he can afford to lose a spot while he's running in 2nd there, and you just saw him take advantage of that as we come to the white flag. Hannigan out front. Sherman now drops it through the middle. Coming down to the checkered here, side by side.
Mason Hannigan.
Hannigan with the B main event win over Sherman. Sherman definitely came on strong there at the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Through the middle.
Sherman looked very good there. Maybe he found something for this feature event here. He's going to be a guy to watch, but Mason Hannigan goes out and wins tonight B main over Justin Sherman, Austin Selman, Randy Shreves, and Austin Drucki will be your 5 transfers. Ernie Williams, Randy Fritz, Chase Wolf, Lane Stevens, and Clayton Tilley all will be heading home for tonight. So as the field goes out there, track has been reset. We'll give him a chance to blow the track off, and we'll take this time to go pay some bills. You're watching the Apex Autoglass and 410 Sprint Car Championship presented by B&B Race Simulators right here on OSRN. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back. And welcome back, everybody, here on OSRN. My name is Bert Wojcik. Alongside of me is Drake York. We're here at Cedar Lake, Wisconsin, the Cedar Lake Speedway for tonight's Apex Autoglass and Tin 410 Sprint Car Championship presented by B&B Race Simulators. You're looking at the warm-up here tonight, one of the longer warm-ups we have seen for our feature event here, as we just actually wrapped it up here. So after about 4 minutes, the drivers say, hey, track looks good. And the reason they do this, and Drake, is because, and a lot of fans maybe not know this, but the reason they do it is to help the track blow off. They may have a track that resets. When we talk about a reset, basically imagine as your local Saturday night track where they go out there, they rework the track. This is your intermission, but here they allow the drivers to go out and blow the track off and get them to where it's about where it was, right around heat race number 2 or 3, I would say. And then the track starts to work its way back from there as we get ready to go into tonight's 40-lap feature event. So as what we've seen earlier tonight, imagine it just a lot darker and blacker as we get through the night.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see it at all. And yeah, I feel bad for all the virtual tracks trying to sell hot dogs during the track rework. You don't got a lot of time, but this is one of the nice things about iRacing, because I've been there. Heck, even during a shootout, you had between the mains, they were reworking the track all the time. So
oh my god,
just sitting there. But I mean, on the bright side, it provides some great racing. I wish they could just do a quick reset and buzz them around for 3 laps like we do here. But that's why we have this, to do things we can't do in the real world.
You're right, and I tell you what, I only made it to the Wingless Outlaw main event. That was the last race I made it to, and I'm like, I couldn't do it, but that was a hell of a race to make it to, though. I'm so happy that I was racing tonight, without a doubt.
Exactly. Shootout always puts on a good show. I'll be honest, I'm not a big micro person, but I always pay attention to Shootout, and it was one to remember, that's for sure.
Absolutely. So, as you look, Tim Smith and Blake Majulis are on the front row here tonight in tonight's 40-lap main event. James Eaton, Evan C. will be making up row number 2. Tyler Schell, Alex Bergeron in row number 3. Hayden Carwell, Aiden Berline, Kenny Miller, and Logan Rumsey. That's your top 5. There's the rest of your field for you on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Silverado's off the speedway. We are underway here at Cedar Lake, Wisconsin.
Good start for Smith, of course, looking for the clean sweep tonight. Last time won his heat race, and he is out to the early lead in a 3 and 4.
Yeah, it looks like Tyler Schell got into somebody there. Greg LeMay, there's a couple cars going over. Oh, Alex Bergeron is up and over. Ooh, this could be fun to watch, folks. You're looking on the replay there. There's Schell on the bottom. It looks like he got in this. Was it C or Bergeron? We'll have to have Joe run that back one more time. Looks like he got into Evan C, and that sent him over. So Evan's going to have some work to do to make his go two races in a row there. But, I thought when Joe was dreaming right here, is Bergeron like, this could get interesting, Drake.
That's going to be big. Here, I believe we're following C heading into turns 1. There you see Bergeron on the top, Schell just in front of him on the bottom. Oh yeah, Schell just knocks up into him, and I think Alex Bergeron did wrong right there, just racing hard on the outside, and car came up in front of nothing Bergeron did wrong, but he is going to be fun to watch coming through this one. Tyler Schell, meanwhile, we're restarting the 4th spot. Again, these are just another big part of the points championship, and you're going to look at these moments when we come down to the end of the season that, definitely change the course of it. Now, we were talking about consistency. Now, can Bergeron deliver a good finish here after a rough start?
Well, he's going to have to do it again. Green flag is back out here. We'll try this again here at Cedar Lake. As we're online with Blake Majulis here. James Eaton's on the bottom right now, as Majulis is going to follow Tim Smith around. Tim Smith will lead lap number 1 here at Cedar Lake.
Smith really controlling the pace of this race right now out front. There's Edens down on the bottom side in car 52. We saw him work it earlier in his heat race to a lot of successes. We're going to go yellow once again.
Hunter Harris involved in that, as well as Aiden Berline is going to be involved in this. So take a look on board here. We're looking at Aiden Berline to go into turns 3 and 4 as we go back down the front straightaway here. See where Gunnar Harris comes in there. 3 wide going through the corner. There it is. It looks like Mason Hannigan.
Yeah,
it
but
looks
they
like
keep going.
Mason Hannigan got turned. I want to say by Landon Cardoza. That might have been the yellow there. It looks like it was for Mason Hannigan. We'll take a ride on board here.
Definitely tell us a little bit more of what happened. Yeah, it actually gets past a few cars here on the restart.
Oh, they were 4 wide. Oh, wow.
They were slicing and dicing back in the field, and how spread out this race could get. Oh, he gets into the back. Can't quite make out who that is.
That's Greg LeMay.
LeMay gets up to the fence in front of him.
Yeah, that's LeMay.
He tries to go up through the middle of LeMay. Oh, and they touch. It's up in the wall, and
yep, chaos. I believe that's Kenny Miller. Joe Howe involved as well.
A lot of good cars kind of mired in the mid-pack.
So as we get the field
again, like we saw with Bergeron, Burt, just a product of hard racing and chain reaction there. Mason gets together with LeMay, and that's all downhill from there.
You think it's a little bit too early to go 4 wide? I'm just trying to think here. It may be a little early to go 4 wide as green flag is back out. We'll see if we can get some laps going here between Blake Majulis and Tim Smith. And there is Hayden Cardwell. He's trying to rip the lip. Oh, we're 3 wide for the lead off of turn number 4.
Yeah, Cardwell definitely made a big move there as we're going to go yellow yet again, our 3rd caution of the race. So it sounds like Bergeron involved yet again. Selman involved as well. Oh boy, Selman up into Bergeron, and Selman goes for a wide. Bert, interesting thing about that is it's the exact same product.
Yeah, you're going to see
Bergeron earlier.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of that tonight, Drake. I think is you're just going to get caught up in stuff because there's not much room to go here at Cedar Lake. You have that wall on the inside going down the back straightaway. Obviously, you have the outside retaining wall going there as well. So there's not much room to kind of get around here. So you also just kind of have to, bite your lip there and grind your teeth out on it and just hope for the best. So we'll see what happens as the field's going to try. Maybe we might. I don't know if we're going to go single file yet. If we're going to go double file. Field has not doubled up yet, so officials maybe saying, yep, we're going to go single file. So officials are saying, all right, guys, you can't do it on a double file start. We're going single file. So we have not, I don't think we've actually got, yeah, we got 1 lap done finally. So as the green flag is out, here we go. Finally, see if we get the field underneath some laps here as Majulis will try and close in on Tim Smith. And James Eaton's also in that battle as well. They finally come off of turn number 4. We get a lap in.
Keep your eye on Hayden Cardwell and that James McFadden Bonnie Motorsports looking 17 machine. He is up on the top side of the racetrack. Big run on Edens. He's going to slide through the middle up to the fence. Could have a run off of 4. Yes, he does. He pulls even. Ryan on board with Cardwell is now there's Majulis dropping to the bottom, trying to get past Smith down the backstretch to no avail. And Cardwell with a big run into 3.
Look how thin that cushion is. Oh, you got to be careful ripping that top side. Because if you make one little mistake on that cushion, your night is over. So it's Hayden Cardwell, Blake Majulis. They're battling there for that 2nd spot. As you also have James Eaton there, but Tim Smith, he's trying to hold off Blake Majulis as he's starting to pull away from him. Cardwell's starting to close in now.
Cardwell isn't really committed on entry. It looks like sliding through the middle, kind of like you're seeing Tyler Schell there. He's having a pretty quiet race, running back in that 5th spot. But Cardwell now blasts past Majulis in his 2nd tanks the wall. Keeps it going, though. Here's Edens now to the inside of Majulis.
James Eaton's going to pull a slider on Blake Majulis. Yellow flag is out. Gunnar Harris going to be the cause for this yellow here as we take a look at the replay. Ooh, gets squeezed 3 wide.
Middle right there. That was Rumsey he maybe got into as well.
Rumsey
up to the fence.
I believe it looked like Logan Rumsey. So as you see there's Gunnar Harris just kind of sitting there like a display car on the grass, kind of perfectly parked, honestly, for that. So we'll have to see. Hayden Cardwell, he finally got around Blake Majulis. Does he have enough to go after Tim Smith? It's all about putting some laps down here, and we've been struggling. That was the best run we've had to start this event. So The question I think begs to be answered here: what does Cardwell have for Smith if we get in lap traffic? That's been kind of a struggle the last couple weeks here in the Apex Auto Glass and Tinting 410 Sprint Car Championship and by B&B Race Simulators. Is getting into lap traffic, especially on these smaller tracks. The yellows just seem to be very prevalent, Drake. So, if we get in lap traffic, which has been very rare, does Cardwell have enough?
I think it just really depends on where Cardwell is when they get to traffic. I feel like your leader, Timothy Smith, is going to be able to work through traffic really easily because there's a lot of options, but that also could hurt him because those cars could be using those different options. So it's going to depend on that, really, I think. And we also have yet to see what Cardwell really has just one-on-one with Smith, which we're going to see here on this restart. Just going to depend if somebody like Majulis right there behind him in the 127 throws a slider and starts racing with Cardwell. I think that's going to be the deciding factor if Cardwell has anything on this restart.
Back to green as we go into turns 1 and 2. See what Cardwell has for Tim Smith. They both go up to the top side. Majulis trying to look underneath Cardwell. Not going to happen. Cardwell with a nice run going in turns 3 and 4. They're going to try and go drag race off of 4. Tim Smith barely leads that lap.
At Cardwell, lane changes down the front stretch, now goes to the fence in 1 and 2. He's got a big run down the back stretch. He shoots the inside slider into 3. Cardwell skims the fence, and he'll take the lead off 4.
Hayden Cardwell with a beautiful slide job. Here comes Smith. He tried to turn it back on him now. Into turns 1 and 2. Cardwell with the run into turns 3 and 4. He's going to try and slide on in front of Tim Smith. He's still going to hold that lead now as we are 15 laps in.
Cardwell just committed to the top like he needed to there. We were talking about earlier, kind of slid up to it earlier, but these last few laps, just as I say, they dropped through the middle, but these last few laps, he had really committed on entry, as you see him do here in 1 and 2, and that paid dividends for him on exit.
Aiden Cardwell coming from the 7th spot to make it up in the first 16 laps here. As it's Tim Smith, Blake Majulis, James Eden, and Tyler Schell. That rounds out your top 5. Kenny Miller is running in the 6th spot. John Helms and Greg LeMay. As you look at James Eden right now trying to hold off Tyler Schell with 25 laps to go.
Will come out. Trevor Meyer, it sounds like one of the cars involved. All right, well, here's Trevor down in turns 1 and 2. There you see Bergeron behind him. He's had a rough of it, to say the least.
The last couple weeks have not been good for Alex Bergeron as he's going to go slide up. I think it might have been John Helms as we are in... He might have been just a product of this as we take a look through the field there. We'll try and find. There's John Helms as we're waiting to see where the yellow took place at. Just start playing the Jeopardy music. That's all we need. Sooner or later this will show up. So we're looking at John Helms. That's what our other indication for the yellow was for. No yellow yet. Yeah, there he is. He gets up into the fence there. Comes down in front of a couple cars.
Set of circumstances there off at turn number 2, and you were talking about it earlier, Bert. The track get a very fine line around as we go back to green. Cardwell out front. Smith unable to really get to him here on this restart. In fact, Cardwell is going to pull away by quite a sizable margin just after 1 lap.
Major lead there for Hayden Cardwell as we come down off of turns 1 and 2. Field kind of starting to go single file. See if Tyler Schell can close in on James Eden. Here comes on the 9th spot, or in the 6th spot, Kenny Miller. He's going to try and take a 2-for-1 going in turns 1 and 2. Schell with a run going down the back straightaway.
Tyler Schell better get up on his horse and ride because we're starting to get down to crunch time now, 20 laps to go, but I feel like especially with the caliber of drivers in front of him, he's got to start positioning himself now to have a shot at the race win, and he's had a very quiet race. Burt just run back in the 5th spot for most of this one.
Yes, he has. And take a look at Kenny Miller there You're right. He has to get going, but yet I think he knows that Bergeron, he's going to have to make his way through the field, so he knows his points lead is in pretty good standing right now as we take a look at Blake Majulis. Meanwhile, Hayden Carwell has checked out to almost a 2.5 lead on Tim Smith. Or excuse me, half a second lead on Tim Smith. Then it's James Eden, Blake Majulis, and Tyler Shell. There's your top 5. As right now, the top side is going to be pretty dominant there as Blake Majulis is trying to make a liar out of me.
Majulis back to the inside of Edens. Haven't said that a lot about Edens running somebody getting to the bottom of Edens because he's been mostly on the bottom to middle all night long. And there you see Tyler Shell. And like you said, he's got to know that Bergeron's back in the field as we go yellow. But I think he knows, like you said, that Bergeron is mired back there and doesn't really have to worry about the points for now.
Yellow coming out, we believe it's going to be for Landon Cardoza. Is we'll right on board here, see where it is, and yep, there it is. Gets in the back of Greg LeMay, just slides around. Good job by the rest of the field to get around him, but just enough to bring out the yellow. But that was probably some of the best racing we've seen, or one of the longer stretches we have seen here, Drake. But you're right, Hayden Carwell with an amazing restart there, and he's out in that clean air. 16 laps ago, they ripped him off pretty quick here. I think if we go green to the end, we're going to see lap traffic here at the end of this race.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with 16 laps to go to get into traffic by the end of this one. And I feel like right now for Timothy Smith, his only shot at Cardwell is either going to be in traffic or on this upcoming restart. If Cardwell makes a mistake, Smith has to be there and pounce because I don't think he's going to catch him otherwise.
I don't think so either. I mean, Cardwell seems to be having one of the better cars here tonight, but Tim Smith, he's looking for that clean sweep. I'm sure he would really like to get it, but as you're right, you said, Drake, you nailed it. He has to get him on this restart, I feel like, unless lap traffic comes into play or Cardwell makes a mistake on that cushion. Remember, that cushion has been razor thin as we go back to green now. Good restart for Cardwell. He has been money on these restarts back in the 1 and 2.
If Cardwell takes him through the top side of turns 1 and 2, Yellow already back out on the speedway.
Greg LeMay going to be the cause for the yellow, as we'll see what the field looks like as we go single file here. Wonder if he had a little bit of help there. Oh, him and Bergeron. So I almost wonder if LeMay might have spun his tires a little bit there on that initial start. So we will try it again. 15 laps to go here at Cedar Lake. Once again, thanks to everyone for joining us here for the Apex Auto Glass and Tin 410 Sprint Car Championship presented by B&B Race Simulators and EPI. We have EPI setups helping us out here as well. My name is Bert Woodruff. Alongside me is Drake York. Joe White, our producer here tonight, as we get ready to go back to green here at Cedar Lake, Wisconsin. Yep, it will be single file restart all the way to the end now. We're going to go back to green here, I believe, next time around. Looks like the lights are on the iRacing Silverado Pace Truck. And Drake, it's been an eventful, but not an eventful race, especially up towards the front of this field here. I feel like last week at Knoxville we had a lot more front end action, but now here it seems like it's a little bit spread out through the field. But Hayden Carwell's just in their zip code, especially on these restarts.
Yeah, and you're going to watch him right here as he comes off of turn number 4 back to the green and just yards Smith heading into turns 1 and 2. Here's Majulis to the inside of Edens. That's for the 3rd spot as they race down the backstretch.
Into turns 3 and 4, Smith is the closest he's been to Cardwell in a while now. As Tyler Shell looking underneath Blake Majulis, not able to make that happen now as he's going to try and go up on the high side. Majulis, he's been having that car kind of around the middle. I wonder if he's trying that setup to try with the World of Outlaws series on Monday night. Been working pretty well for him, been very consistent, but not really moving forward as we have 13 laps to go. Most of the field goes up to the wall.
Watching Tyler Shell and Kenny Miller III laying back there in the weeds. Miller now under fire from Alex Bergeron, who's fired his way back up through the field inside the top 10, running 7th right now with 12 laps to go. Just looking at the cars in front of him and how the racetrack is, it could be tough for him to get by, but never count out Alex Bergeron. He is in it to win it here, especially for the championship points, as him and Miller get together into turn number 1.
Oh, I thought Kenny Miller was going for a ride there. Now Bergeron's going to have to slow up a little bit, trying to get around, find a way to get around. Shell as Miller pulls a big slider. We're going to go 3 wide, almost going into turns 1 and 2. Oh, Bergeron trying to make something happen as Shell gets back around Kenny Miller. Meanwhile, as we look at this here, there is Majulis, Smith, and Edens. As we got one up in the wall, Kenny Miller goes up into the wall.
Kenny Miller just looked like he overshot the corner a little bit too much with that slider, but you look at Bergeron and Shell, big turning point in the title points. At least if you look at from Bergeron's side, after having a terrible race, I think he's been involved in just about every yellow we've had, but yet he's still on the tail tank of Tyler Shell, the points leader, heading into 3, and he's got to run off 4.
He does, but he has to check up a little bit. Now he's going to try and go blow. Going to try and pull the slider on Tyler Shell. He's going to take away the 5th spot, but Shell's ready for it to go back into turns 3 and 4. He goes up. Shell turns it back on him. Bergeron with the run. Bergeron up in the 5th.
Yeah, Bergeron making that big point save. We talk about Brady Bacon. He's a guy that can flip almost to the Chick-fil-A drive-thru and still come back with a podium finish later that night. Alex Bergeron, while not nearly as impressive as that, he's still putting up a good fight as he is on the fence. Does he have anything for the 4 cars in front of him with 5 to go?
Meanwhile, as we're missing all this, James Eden has got around Tim Smith, but as you look at from the chase cam there, you can't even see Hayden Carwell. Carwell's out to almost a 2.6 or 2.5 second lead right now with 3 laps to go. Hayden Carwell has this race almost in the bag, barring a late race yellow.
Yeah, and he is really doubled down on the top side, and like we were talking about throughout most of this race, was just kind of sliding up to the cushion. Wasn't really committed on entry. As here comes Alex Bergeron off the turn number 4. He closes in on Majulis. Bergeron, I don't think he's going to get a late race yellow, but you never know. He is driven all the way from the back into the top 5.
Meanwhile, white flag is out for Hayden Carwell. He started back in the 7th spot here tonight. He's looking for his first win of the season off of turn number 4. Hayden Carwell wins here at Cedar Lake.
Dominating performance by Hayden Carwell. Then it's going to be Eden Smith, Bergeron, Majulis, L. Sherman, Miller, Brown, and Selman, the top 10.
I'm sorry, that'd be Hayden Carwell's second win of the season here, but Hayden Carwell comes out in a fantastic performance here, an almost dominating performance, as he will go up onto the center step of the podium. We'll get him off on out of the car here. The crew members will get down there. A fantastic feature event here tonight. You know, it was dominated mostly by Hayden Carwell at the start of this, basically in the lead most of this race here. But the show was behind him. Bergeron with a fantastic run there. Blake Majulis unfortunately fell back a little bit there. But James Eden, fantastic run. Bergeron, fantastic run. You know, right now your hard charge are going to go to Justin Sherman, I believe, up 9 spots. So a lot of good racing all the way around here. It's Drake York, you're making our way down there to the victory lane there. I'm sure with a very, very happy Hayden Carwell as we were waiting for him to get out of the car. Crew members down there congratulating him. And once again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us here tonight for another fantastic race here on OSRN for next week. For those of you maybe getting ready to head out, hopefully you can join us next Thursday night down at the Fairbury Speedway. Oh, we're getting Falsey next week, so cannot wait for that little short quarter-mile bull ring, one of the best bull rings in the country, as Hayden Carwell is getting ready to get out of the car here, and Drake York, whenever he's ready, it's all yours, bud.
Very much, Bert. Very dominating win. And he's joining us now. Hayden Carwell absolutely demolishes the field. And oh man, you were really good up on the cushion, and really any line you wanted to run. Was that one of the most perfect race cars you ever driven?
You know, yeah, I think this year, just in the sprint car, it's been a struggle. You know, these wins haven't came easy. You know, I think this is my first one in the sprint car in a decent minute. So it felt good to finally hit the setup for once, and hopefully we can just carry this momentum on to Monday.
Towards the mid part of the race there, you had cleared pretty much everybody behind you, solidified yourself in the second, then you got a yellow while you were run behind TJ Smith. At that point, under the yellow flag, did you think now's my chance to finally take over the lead?
Yeah, before then, Timmy was actually really good, and I really didn't know how our cards were going to play out there. Didn't know if he was going to fade or I was going to fade or what happened, but he just kind of messed up in 1 and 2 one lap and allowed us to get a run, and we were able to slide him in 3. And then after that, I think just me and Clean Air was just able to hit my marks and able to pull away.
Anybody you'd like to thank for getting you to victory lane tonight?
You just saw the guys on Slick, Logan, James, and JD for all the help tonight. You guys for the broadcast. Just everybody that makes this possible. Sparky, Josh for putting this deal on. It's pretty good for us pro guys to get out here on Thursday night and just get a little test and tune in for Monday night. So just appreciate you guys for having me, and I'll see you next week.
That's Hayden Cardwell, your winner tonight here at Cedar Lake. Bring up Timothy Smith, your third place driver tonight. Timothy, I know it's not the way you wanted to end the night, but overall a really successful night. Fast time, you won your heat, and you were a contender in the feature event, but I know you really wanted that one. Just kind of take me through the race there, because it seemed like you almost had this wrapped up for most of the race.
Yeah, we got really close on the car. It's we got to work on it some more, but it was a good run from Hayden. Just a good run overall. I'm not used to being on the podium, so I apologize for Josh not being on the podium.
Indeed. And like I said, just overall, a really great night. Anybody you'd like to thank for getting you here?
For sure, 129, Tiger Towing, TSR, Mimo Equipment, 129 guys, they help me out a lot. I appreciate it whenever they help me slick off the track all the time. M9 Setups, and just everybody for helping out. There's so many people that put this together.
Timothy Smith, your third place driver here, bottom step of the podium, Cedar Lake. James Edens, step on the podium tonight, and like Smith, you had a very solid night, able to win your heat race, and again, we saw you work in the bottom and middle a lot. What really appealed to you throughout the night running the bottom and middle?
We were just kind of set up for it. I'm pretty comfortable down there. The top gets pretty sketchy, so I don't know. It's just where the car had the best balance. We didn't have much balance in it tonight, actually, so that's kind of why I stayed down there, to stay away from the wall, because I didn't know what it was going to do. So we were just kind of hanging on, and we definitely need to get a little bit better.
But I'd like to thank for getting you up to the second spot tonight.
Yeah, I just kind of thank all the Speed Lab guys and Slick Sim Sport and Bear Archery, K1 Race Gear, Bell Helmets, and Dominator Designs and Wraps.
James Eden second tonight once again. Hayden Cardwell, your winner. Eden second. And rounding out the podium is Timothy Smith. Bert?
Thank you very much, Drake York. A fantastic night of racing here at Cedar Lake. And, as Drake, as you get ready to make your way up here, it kind of played out the way we thought it was going to a little bit, but I was expecting Hayden Cardwell to be that good. I mean, that was, as you said in his interview, that was probably one of the more perfect races I've seen from somebody all year long. The caution fell his right way. He didn't have to deal with too much lap traffic, but that car, when he got out front there and after that slide job on Tim Smith, it just worked to perfection for him tonight.
Yeah, and, like we heard in his interview there, once he kind of got clear of the mayhem, which was the rest of the top five, he really knew that was his shot on the restart, and he took full advantage of it. So that's what you have to do. And honestly, I didn't really see it coming from Hayden Cardwell. You talk about it's his second win on the season, but I definitely would not have picked Cardwell win tonight, especially. He didn't really in the heat race, really stop, didn't do anything really spectacular in qualifying, but by race's end, he was there, not even by race's end, by the halfway point. So in the end, that's all that really matters, and he gets the job done.
Absolutely. And his last win came back at the Lanyard, so he's good on these smaller tracks. It came back in at a Halloween weekend in October, so he's good on these smaller tracks, it seems like. And it's kind of been one of these things where the guys are finding their niches here. But as we look through the field here again, Bergeron has to fight his way up to go back, but he finally, this time, he gets around Tyler Schell. So, Schell falls back to the sixth spot. He loses 2 position. Bergeron finishes 4th. The battle still continues here, but we're running out of time here, because there's not too many races left to go here on this in the season 4 standings here.
Right, and I would just love to know what was going through Tyler Schell's mind when he saw Bergeron jump up on the scoreboard right behind him and then eventually pass him, because at one point it seemed like Bergeron was involved in most, if not all, of the yellows in some way or another. Lap 1, prime example, through no fault of his own, got stuffed in the fence, and then more crashes in there, and just amazed that car was in one piece by race's end. I figured the front wing would be knocked off, the right side wing panel would be gone on it, but lo and behold, that car was still just as fast at the end as it was at the start.
So right now, as we look at the points, Tyler Schell leads by 45 points over over Alex Bergeron, then it's Logan Rumsey. But the battle is between those two, Aiden Berline, Evan C. That rounds out your top 5 in the points right now, but it's a 45-point gap, and there's a swing. Let me see here. As I look through the field here, there is a 11-point swing throughout the entire field. You get 60 for first, and it drops all the way down into 11th for 10th for 24th in the field. So, let's say Schell gets into a run with bad luck here next couple weeks here. That points title, that could still close up here. Let's say Bergeron goes out, gets a win or two here. That points title, that's nowhere near from over yet.
No, it's not. It's not over to the final checkered flag of the season. So I feel like that's how you're going to see Alex Bergeron race for the rest of the season. I just feel like, Lernerville a few weeks back was a prime example of just not putting yourself in the greatest of positions. Tonight, most of it, if not all of it, really wasn't his fault. That was just bad circumstances, but it's all about putting yourself in good positions, and obviously when we come down to season's end, we'll kind of have to see how Bergeron definitely stacks up compared to Schell. And again, that's just a long ways down the road. Like you said, Tyler Schell could have a run of bad luck. Alex Bergeron could win 3 in a row. You never know. That's one of the fun things about sprint car racing.
Absolutely. As we get ready to wrap it up here tonight, next week we go off to the quarter-mile bull ring known as Fowles at Fairbury American Legion Speedway in Fairbury. Where are we at? Illinois, right?
Illinois.
Yeah, Fairbury, Illinois.
Nebraska.
Yes, one of the best dirt tracks in the country, I think. I love Fowles. I think it puts on some of the best racing, some of the best super late model racing. But when the 410 sprint cars get there in real life, man, I tell you what, it makes it a bucket list track, and I cannot wait to see Fowles next week here on the Apex Autoglass 410 Sprint Car Championship.
Absolutely, and of course that place is big late model country, but sprint cars do put on a good show, no question about it.
Absolutely. So hopefully next week we have Dan Taylor come back. Dan, feel better, my friend, and we're all thinking about you here tonight. So that's going to wrap it up here for another fantastic broadcast on OSRN. Thank you so much for everyone who joined us. Once again, thanks to all of our sponsor, Apex Autoglass and Tinting, B&B Race Simulators, and EPI Setup Shop as well. So for everyone here at OSRN, our producer Joe White, our creator of the league, Sparky up there, Josh Van Mayen. I probably butchered the last name, but whatever. That's Drake York alongside me. My name is Brett Wojcik. We will see you guys next week from the Fairbury American Legion Speedway next week here on OSRN.